Good evening to you all, and I'm glad to welcome you all for the weekly market presentation of SC Securities this week. So, let me start off from the market performance and economic highlights, and as usual, the some insights from the global commodity markets and financial markets as usual. And the presentation will then continue by Harin with his technical analysis. So, starting off with the market news. Market actually gained a negative start during Monday's trading session with having points decline in both the indices. So the investors profit taking with the elevated selling pressure actually witnessed or aided to witness declines during the first two trading days of the week. So during Monday's trading session, SPI declined by 35 points to close at 10,025.40, whereas S&P SL-20 index also declined by 19 points to close at 3,217.74. And the same momentum was continued during Tuesday's trading session. And with that, SPI declined by 124 points to close at 9,901.13, below a 10,000 benchmark level. And S&P SL-20 index also declined by 32 points to close at 3,185.59. So looking at the both of the trading days, we have seen the turnovers were at a significant level, especially during Tuesday's trading session. Turnover level picked up to report a value of around 6 billion over just 3.3 billion from the Monday's trading session, and that was basically aided by the foreign buying of Expo, which is even continuing from the previous week. So, especially during Tuesday's trading session, foreign purchasers picked up to report a value of 2.4 billion over just 43 million worth of foreign sales. So, with that, both of the days during Monday's session and as well as Tuesday's trading session, net foreign buying was resulted reporting a positive inflow. But however, this negative momentum was slightly changed during middle of the week, especially during the Wednesday's trading session and the Thursday's trading session. So during Wednesday, SPI picked up by 12 points to close at 9,913.2, and S&P SL-20 index also gained 14 points to close at 3,199.94. So the banking sector stock reportedly picked up ahead of Israel's virtual forum with the island nations creditors over debt restructuring. So, with this some sort of positive news, the market gained a positive momentum to ended up with gains. So during Wednesday's trading session and the Thursday's trading session, if we have a look at the turnover levels, both of these days the turnover levels range in between 4 billion benchmark level, and that was then again backed by the foreign buying of Expo. So foreign purchases during Wednesday's trading session picked up to report a value of around 1 billion, whereas just 49 million worth of sales reported. But again, back on Friday, market witnessed decline in terms of both the indices. So during Friday's trading session, SPI declined by 36 points to close below 10,000 benchmark level at 9,964.80, and S&P SL-20 index also declined by 28 points to close at 3,203.01. So turnover level with no foreign involvement after all by the counter Expo has declined to report a value of 3.017 billion. That was the lowest turnover level for the week. And foreign purchases also reported a value of just 70 million against 53 million worth of foreign sales reported. But anyhow, during the throughout the week, foreign purchases managed to pick up and report positive values on contrary to that of foreign sales. So it was reported that throughout the period up until September so far, the foreign buying report a positive position with over 10 billion worth of net foreign inflow, and the Expo counters separately have contributed with net buying over 10 billion just for the month of September. So for the week, net foreign inflow was reported with a value of 3.8 billion. But however, when we look at the two main trading indices, both of them witnessed decline. So SPI declined by 0.96% and S&P SL-20 index declined by 1.06%. Then let me move into treasury yields. Interest rate the treasury yields declined for the week in terms of three different yields that we are considering. So the 3 month, the maturity with 3 month declined by 76 basis points to 31.95%, and 6 month treasury yield declined by 19 basis points to 30.63%, and 12-month yield also declined by 39 basis points to 29.87%. But so LKR, when we look at the exchange rates, Sri Lanka rupee continued to range in between the same value because the central bank is accepting a daily permissible level. So with that, the LKR in terms of USD has ranged between 362 for the week, so more or less the same and with no appreciation or depreciation. But anyhow, looking at the other currencies, LKR depreciated against Japanese yen, but resulted slight appreciations against Great Britain pounds and euro. So then moving on to the economic highlights. So the NCPI-based inflation of the country has reported a value of 70.2% for the month of August, and that was over 66.7% in July, despite assurances regarding that the inflation will not exceed 70%. For the month of August, it was resulted a value of 70.2%, and the increase of the inflation level is attributable to both food and non-food categories. So during the month of August, food inflation has raised to 84.6% over 82.5% in the previous month of July, and non-food inflation also increased to 57.1% over 52.4% in July. So the stem of local prices with the prevailing import restrictions has caused majority of the commodities to go up, especially the food category items. So that's why that was resulted in overall increase in country's inflation level. And but anyhow, the central bank governor is in view that the inflation rates or inflation levels will go down in the upcoming months. However, he was even recently explained or expressed his idea that SL is not yet out of woods, and especially with its concerns regarding the inflation is to drop down in the coming months. But given the circumstances where global economies, the global central banks keeps on increasing their interest rates, there are a possible challenge in bringing down the inflation in the country and also the interest rates. However, the IMF and SL-led program attempts to generate a positive surplus of 2.3% in the year of 2025 as against the 4% negative or the deficit in the year 2022. And as I said you previously, Governor is in view that Sri Lanka is not yet way out of the control, that the IMF program is the final chance for us to adjust our consumptions and to start living within our means and restore stability from all the aspects. So meanwhile, it was also reported that the bilateral talks in terms of debt restructuring led by Japan and France and the discussions or through a virtual platform is to conduct on Friday. So with some positivity, we can expect there will be positive news in terms of restructuring debts. That will be a key matter to obtain the IMF loan and in utilizing it. So yeah, these are the basic points from the economic front, and let me move into some commodity highlights. So commodities declined for another straight week, especially the oil prices. Oil prices declined to report a value below 90 per $90 per barrel, and that was due to the re-emergence of recession fears after Federal Reserve's rate hike for the third consecutive session, and also the Russia's attempt on annexing four occupied regions in Europe, however, managed to cap some losses. Russia launched referendums to figure out the uh, its idea on annexing four regions that are under their control. So while the Kiev called an illegal sham that it said included threats to residents if they do not vote. So this concern some sort of a reduction in oil prices losses, but anyhow, with the triggered elevated concerns regarding global economic recession fears coupled with the Federal rate reserve hikes caused a decline in oil prices. So does the gold prices also witnessed a decline throughout the week with the strengthened dollar, and the aluminium and copper prices for another trade session they also witnessed declines. And the same news negatively affected on global stock markets as well. So the Federal Reserve increased the rates by another 75 basis points, and that's the third consecutive session of them to increase the rates. So most of the world banks coupled with Federal Reserve did the same, and they also went for interest rate hike. And the as of World Bank, it is mostly obvious to face an economic recession in 2023, as such phase of rate hikes didn't seen in over past 5 decades, and that is mostly expected to continue in the next year too. So the emphasis on production over consumption is vital, or otherwise the long-lasting negative consequences may be seen in emerging markets and developing economies. So that's what a major concern to world now. Overconsumption should be limited and have to focus more on doing good productions. So, with these concerns regarding the elevated recession fears, majority of the world stocks ended up with decline or losses for the week. So, the Indian shares and the European shares, US shares altogether witnessed decline with the elevated fears on recession, and so they ended up with losses for another straight week. So yeah, we are at a possible recession risk from the global front, and that can have some negative consequences to Sri Lankan economy as well. So there is a huge responsibility on Sri Lankan authorities to get to see what are the potential threats and what are the potential opportunities that we could grab to increase our economic position. So, with that concluding thought, let me hand over the presentation to Harin. Over to you.
Thank you, Sachini. So, looking at XAU-USD this week, what has happened to the price as the Fed is rising interest rates, we are able to see that the price has broken certain key areas and trading below the level of 1,650, where the last closing was the 1,643. So in this case, if the price remains to be further bearish, as there's a significant bearish momentum in the price of gold, we will be able to see that the price would initially test the level of daily support 1,600, 1,610 after making a retest towards the daily support and making it a daily resistance, and the following would drastically bring the price down to the level of 1,600. So the moving averages, of course, indicates a bearish momentum as the price is basically trading below the moving averages 18 and 8 18 and 8. So RSI remains at the level of 30, which is still in the mid range, but I believe it would be going towards the level of oversold. So in this case, when the RSI comes to level of oversold, the price could initially be below the level of 1650, closer to the level of 1600. So in between 1600 1650, we might be able to see some sort of accumulation happening over that key area. So if the price remains to in the case of price remains to cross above the daily support level 1650 1660, as this has is not a officially daily resistance level yet, because there's not a retest happened yet. So in the coming week, we might be able to see a retest, or worst case scenario, after retest, we might be able to see the price coming towards the level of daily support 1600. So once it makes the retest, 1600 would be the next level target. um so if it comes above 1650, we might be able to see some sort of consolidation happening. And in the minor time frames, we were able to see, as we switch to a time frame like 4 hours, we were able to see some sort of ranging happening and accumulation happening over the level of 1650 and 1688. So 1688 being another key area for gold. So once if it is above 1650, we might be able to see it coming towards the 1688 and 1700 being another psychological area again. So worst case scenario, after a retest from 1650, and in making this daily support or resistance, the price could further come towards the level of daily support 1600. So as we move on to our all share index, we can clearly see from the weekly chart that the bullish momentum is still there, as the index is trading above both 18 and 8 moving averages. So we had a some sort of a small minor retracement, minor rejection from the weekly resistance, 10,050, 10,250, and 10,000 being a psychological area, where the index closed at 9,964.8 for the 23rd of September. So if it remains to be bearish from this weekly resistance, we might be able to see testing the 200 EMA in the daily chart, and further breaking that area, we have a structure high formation, which is at 9,308 key level down around 9,300. So that could be tested as well. But I believe that the index could reject from the daily EMA 200 EMA. So this weekly resistance is very hard to break, but if once it breaks, we are able to see it going towards the level of 11,000, as the next psychological area is 11,000. But the EMS indicates a bullish momentum, as the index is trading above both EMS. So therefore, once it is above weekly resistance, we might be able to see it going towards the level of level 1000. The RSI also indicates a level of 61.08, which is in the mid range. So the index is overall bullish. And as we move on to the topic of the week, which is Sampath, what we can clearly see from the daily chart is the price is actually at a daily support level 40.41, where the last closing price was 41.1. The moving averages, of course, indicates a bullish momentum once again in the Sampath count as well. So RSI counts a level of 70, which is quite overboard from the daily chart, but I believe that the price could actually sustain above the daily support 40.41, as there's enough liquidity and there's buying and bullish momentum in this particular stock. So we have a structure high formation at around 42, the key level of 42, and once it breaks, we might be able to see it reaching the level of daily resistance 45, 46. Worst case scenario, if it comes below the level of 40, we have the daily support at 35.36. So long as it sustains above the daily support 40.41, we are good to see it going towards the level of daily resistance 45.46. So that's the initial outlook for this week. If you all enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much and have a great weekend.